Welcome to Danielle Scraps. My name is Danielle and I'm glad that you're here. Make sure you hit subscribe, like, and that bell so you don't miss another tutorial.
Hi, I am back with a card and I saw this on a Tip Tuesday on Facebook and I thought we would make it with the dies that are still left in Close to My Heart's inventory. And this is a really cute die set. It is called Build a Rainbow, and so then you have all the makings of the rainbow and this cloud, and I'm just going to use White Daisy today, but because of the rainbow in the background, but I just thought that it really popped and it was a really cute card. So I've done a lot of prep work prior to this, so we can concentrate more on just assembling the card and getting the look versus stamping and cutting and things of that nature. So I'm just going to bring out my all-purpose mat here just to protect my surface. And I will link all of the supplies in the description below, so don't worry. So you're going to start with a piece of White Daisy cardstock. And just get this out here so that you have some measurements here. This is going to be 4 by 5 1/4. Then you're going to have a 5 1/2 by 4 1/4 piece of, oh my gosh, what is the name of this? Sapphire cardstock. I'm sorry, and this is 4 by 5 1/4, not 4 1/4. So these are going to marry like right on top of each other. You're going to want a piece of cardstock that is 1 inch by 4, okay? You're going to want an embossed piece of cardstock that matches your base. That's going to be 4 by 1 1/2. A sentiment. Mine is matted and cut at 2 1/4 by 1/2 inch. And so then obviously this is just a tad bit smaller than that. So there we go. And then I dovetailed that. And then you'll want one rainbow cutout, or like image in white, and I cut out 4 clouds here. You'll want some 3D foam tape or some sort of dimensional or something of that nature. This is just the guts to the rectangle shaker card that I'm going to use, or that I've used previously. And then I have some old silver embellishing thread that I'm going to use for some accents, and then some sparkles. I have regular ones and then itty bitties. Okay, for your background, we're going to get our White Daisy here. You're going to want some colors of the rainbow. So I decided to use my Distress Oxide Inks. I hadn't played with them in a while and really wanted to play with them. So I picked out these colors right here, and I thought that they were the best. And then this is just an accent color that we've got going right here. There's that. Put that over there. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of dry time in between, so I'm just going to wave it just because I don't want to get the heat tool out. But you want to dry these really good before mixing them in. And then I'm also going to just get out a baby wipe really quick just to wipe my surface off, and I'm going to actually use that for blending in a minute here. Okay, I'm going to take the color all the way down to the end of the paper because I might want to pick which end I want to use first. So I'm just going to sort of hold it. I'm going to hold it at an angle, and I'm going to what works best for me. And you're just going to do direct pad to paper. So you can go over it as many times as you want. And it's okay to just have a little bit showing there. And I'm going to wipe this off so I don't get that on there. And I should just honestly not be allowed to mess with any of these things because I always mess it up. I always get ink on my fingers. I was just looking for my paper towel so that I could dry my work surface off. I guess I'll just use my sleeve. All right, there we go. So a little dry time in there, just trying to get some of that so that it doesn't marry too much into my pad here. And now I'm just going to sort of put it at a little bit of an angle. If you have the smaller ones, smaller ink pads, this would be great. So just until you love how it looks, seriously, I'm like, where is my towel that I used to dry everything up with? This one shouldn't be as big of a deal as some of the others. Okay, just gonna kind of come in. It's okay if you go over it just a little bit. You're really not blending, so that's not necessary. I do want a better straight edge at the top and the bottom. You really don't want to curve. I'm going to come in with some Seedless preserves. And I'm going to fill in some of these white spaces with some of this black soot. And I think for this one, I'm going to start at the bottom and go up. Perfect. That's all you need. I'm going to put that off to the side. It's going to dry for a second. So what I want to do now is I'm going to let it dry for a second. So what I want to do now is I want to take this blue piece of paper. So this is Capri color right here. And I want to get a spray bottle of water. And I'm going to spray this down. I'm going to be pretty generous and get it saturated here. And then I'm going to crumble it up. And sort of gently unfold it. Maybe mash it in just a little bit more just to get a better texture out of it. Okay. And then I'm going to rip or distress the edges. So I'm just going to pull it off. And I just want the just a very tiny bit to come off. You don't want a whole lot ripped. I'm going to do that on both sides. So if you're heavy-handed, I would recommend maybe making this piece just a little bit better. I also recommend getting all of these pieces out of your scrap pile. Okay, so then I will set this aside and dry, and due to the power of TV, I have got one already dried, and then I'm just going to try to smooth it out here so it lays a little flat. Just come in with my brayer and just sort of flatten that out just a little bit. Now you could come in and add some ink to this and kind of give it a worn leather look or what have you. I'm just going to leave it as is. Now I'm going to come in with my distressed Oxide ink, and this is that black soot. Okay, and so I'm just going to come in and give this a little bit of an outline right there. And then I'm just going to smush a little bit on my pad, and a little bit goes a really long way. I'm going to come in with that same baby wipe that I was using to clean my stuff off. Right, and remember, distressed oxide inks react with water. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to shake it. I'm going to pick which one I want my top to be. I think I'll pick this side, and then I'm just going to come in and brush down this black. If you feel like you need a little bit more, by all means, put a little bit more in your all-purpose mat or whatever. Maybe if you have a glass mat or something of that nature. And so I'm just sort of filling in some of those white spaces and giving it a distressed look. I found that when I came in directly with the ink pad right onto this, it was too bold, too sharp. And I didn't really like the look of it. All right, so now I have this, and I'm just going to set that aside over here. Now I have these two pieces, so I'm going to start assembling my card to a point here. So I'd like to come in and as gently as I possibly can, without knocking the stand that my camera is on and shaking you guys all over the place. I'm going to come in with some sapphire ink. You could totally use the black distress ink, distress oxide ink. So I'm just going to come in and ink these edges a little bit. And this is totally up to you. Now, our paper is white core, so if you want, you can come in and add some ink to some of those pieces that came through when they were embossed. This is optional. You don't have to do that. Just a little bit of extra texture. A light hand works really, really well with this. Okay. And so I'm just going to set that off to dry right here. Okay, so now I have this piece. And this is going to get mounted right on here in the center like that. I could give this a little bit more dry time. I don't have a whole lot of time with the camera, so we're going to go, so it might warp a little bit just because I'm rushing the process. So this is going to go at the bottom. I'm just going to do a dry run for you really quick. I'm going to put this piece right in here. You can center it if you want. And then my rainbow. I put my rainbow in the original one off to the left. So I just want to pull this over to the side, and I just wanted that rainbow to sort of kind of cover up where this blue piece, this capri, doesn't really fit too well. Right? Because when we sprayed it with water and then dried it, it sort of shrank up a little bit. I'll fix that. It's not going to go under there. All right, I'm just trying to do a dry run. When you put the rainbow together, the end pieces all kind of sort of marry up and they're sort of flush with each other, and there'll be some spacing. So my rainbow's going to go here, and then I've got some clouds here. So I'm going to just sort of put this one down there. This one is going to tuck in here. Then I have another one that's going to go there, and then my last one's going to get popped up and go here. So something that I want to do a little bit different than what I did on the first one is I want to come in with a little bit of glacier ink. Boy, these are old ink pads, are they not? And I just want to accent around the side of the rainbow, just to sort of kind of give it a little bit of dimension, a little shadowing, if you will. I didn't do that on the first one, so that'll give this a little bit more dry time while I do that. So just use a finger dauber, and all I'm going to do is sort of just give it a little bit of on the outline of it. And my clouds here. Don't have to do this if you just like the white look to it. That cloud, he got a little away from me in the cutting machine, and so I didn't get, when I was using my scraps, I didn't get it cut completely correctly. So that just gives it a little bit of shadowing, so when we put him in, he's going to definitely be hidden. Okay, and so they're going to go like this. So I'm just going to sort of look to see where everything is. Maybe I would like a little bit more up here since he's going to be the front runner, right? And maybe just a tad right there. So that was just glacier ink that I used. And then for my rainbow, I might just come in on the inside just a little, I wanted just a shadow. And so blue is a really good color. Gray is a really good color to do a shadow with. So I don't want the starkness of black, right? Because the background is so dark. So I just kind of want to give it just that hair of dimension. That's all, just a little shadow in there, like, hey, it's reflecting off the sky or what have you. So because I did a lot of the prep work ahead of time, this card comes together relatively quickly. I would say give yourself, with cut time and all of those things, maybe a good 30 minutes on this card. I know we're already 15 minutes into it and we're not done. So a good 30-minute card is what you're looking at here. Sorry for shaking the camera. And so we're just going to center this piece on here. Make sure it's straight-ish. I'm just going to come in with my bone folder and sort of kind of get those going good. Then I'm going to add this piece down to the bottom. My flowers are going a certain way, so I do want to make sure that, oops, sorry, this goes directly on to the rainbow piece that we created. Right there. I always like to just give it a little bit of extra in there. And then this piece is going to go right here. And it shrunk a little bit. You can either center it, you can put it off to the right. In the first card, I centered it. This one, I'm going to put it more to the right and have that rainbow come in. And I didn't go all the way to the edges with the adhesive. And I sort of try to center it between these two pieces, that line right there, using that line as an eyeball guide. So just come in and add this adhesive to the rainbow. And I'm going to, you don't have to come all the way down to the blue on this. Oops. And I'm just going to make it hang over, which I didn't do in the first one, which is okay. So push that down. Sometimes doing this part is like watching mud dry, right? You're like, okay, I get this. So when I put this in, I'm just leaving a little bit of space and just sort of making sure the ends of the rainbow match up as best as possible. And so there's only 4 pieces in here. I just think this is a really unique and cool way to utilize your standalone dies that don't necessarily have a thin cut to go with them. I'm sorry, a stamp to go with them. So it's not like a shape die that has a stamp that outlines it or gives it some dimension or whatever. So this is a nice way to accent that. So this was a Tip Tuesday that I saw on Facebook. I am the queen of rinse and recycle, let me tell you. This is the way you learn, honestly, when you are trying to hone in on your skills and you're like, oh my gosh, how do these people think of all these really cool things? Well, one of the ways that they think about them is they watch other people and then they imitate them and they go through and they're like, okay, I think I can do that. I love that. I want to try it. And sometimes it works beautifully. They go in, they try it, and it is just amazing, and it was everything they dreamed of. And sometimes it comes out to be a complete flop, and that's okay. So I really encourage you that when you see something, if you love it, make it, right? Okay, let's do a dry run really quick here with our clouds. Where's that guy that I did a lot? I think that was him. I made him come up more. All right, so he's going to go here. This one's going to tuck in right there. I got a little stick on my fingers here. Excuse me. From that adhesive. It's like the best adhesive, but man, once it gets on your fingers, game over. And then this piece is going to come over here like this. And then we will put this one here. Okay. So once we stick them down, it won't be so bad. And then this piece is going to cover up that. So it comes in this way, and we'll add in some of our embellishing. So let's go ahead and get this adhered down. I always like to do a dry run first. For me, and it's just really beneficial to make sure that I'm placing everything right where I want it to. I've got a good eye, and then I'm not trying to figure it out once I have my adhesive on. So I'm going to come in and put this one over here, sort of kind of maybe line it up with that piece there. And then this one will just sit nice and neat in the middle. Oh, looks like I covered up that piece. So we'll just bring this up to the top so it covers up over here. And I'll put just a tad dimensional. You know what, I'm going to stick this right here so I know exactly where this needs to get adhered down to, and then I'll just add a little bit of adhesive to the end. And I'm going to wrap this around my finger. Oh, if I forgot to tell you the supply list, there should be some glue dots in here. So always just wrap it around and then sort of kind of pull it up and pull it around. And then before I adhere this down, I'll cut off any tails that I don't like sticking out. So just feather this out. Like so. Make sure this is upright. And then I'll just pull on it. Just not enough that it pulls it apart per se, but enough so that it branches out. That stick is off. Oop. Cut that tail off. Cut that one off too. Ooh, I almost like this one a little bit better where that sentiment is than I did my sample. Okay, then I'm going to come in with some sparkles. I have the regular sparkles and then the itty bitty ones. And you just put those wherever they sort of speak to you. So I'm just going to put 2 over here. And I'm just going to put 1 tiny one down here. And then all we need to do is put this onto our card base. And look at that. We will have a beautiful card that we can hand off to someone who needs a little pick-me-up. There's that. Put this back in my stand. That's why I like the liquid glue. I can sort of shimmy it into place, and of course I'm going to come over and just give it a once over here with my bone folder gently. And there's my little rainbow card using that Build a Rainbow die set. I hope that you enjoyed this and that this was something that has inspired you to get crafty and to get out there and make something new. I'll see you next time.